What's up, guys? This is Roman Gennaro, host of the Empire Sports Talk podcast, back with another Power Rankings segment. We've already done jersey numbers. We've already done stadium anthems. We've already done MLB stadiums. This time, and this is one of the hardest ones I've done, we're doing top 5 sports movies. And this one, like I said, was one of the most difficult because I grew up a sports movie junkie. When you're a kid, and even for me now, when you're a kid and you go and you watch a sports movie, all you want to do when that movie is over is go out into the backyard and do the things that they were doing in the movie. And it fires you up to want to be a professional hockey player, professional baseball player, professional football player, whatever. You just are instantly filled with adrenaline to do that thing. And as I said, I was a sports movie junkie, so this one was hard to narrow down to 5. This almost became a list of the top 10. With my honorable mentions, it almost is a top 10. This one was also controversial because I went back and looked at it just before shooting this video, and I thought, what was I thinking? So I had to make a last-minute reshuffle to more accurately reflect my actual thoughts, as opposed to what I was feeling at the time, and I'll tell you why I was feeling a certain way at the time. But first, let's start with my honorable mentions. Honorable mentions for this top 5 list are Coach Carter is my first one. Samuel L. Jackson as Coach Carter was unbelievable. Had a great cast. Of the actor that played Timo Cruz also appears on this list a couple of times. All right, the first honorable mention on this list, I'm going to talk a little bit about each of these, is Coach Carter. Samuel L. Jackson as Coach Carter was unbelievable. Rick Gonzalez appears in this movie as Timo Cruz. Rick Gonzalez made a nice career as a teen and a young adult in some sports movies. He does appear one more time on this list. And it was just a great movie. Rob Brown makes an appearance. This is one of Channing Tatum's early roles, was as one of the players on this team. Like, this was a great movie about adversity, about overcoming obstacles. It's great, underrated sports movie for some out there. My next honorable mention is Hoosiers. It's a classic movie. It's Gene Hackman. What was it? What's his name? It's a classic movie. Gene Hackman plays the head coach of the Hickory Hoosiers. The gym scenes were shot in the gym where the Butler Bulldogs play, The Indiana Pacers NBA team used to wear jerseys that were a match for the Hickory Hoosiers in the movie. It's just a classic sports movie. The controversy on this list that I had to change is that I had Hoosiers higher on this list than it is now. Than in the honorable mention. I had it at 3, but when you see what my top 5 are and hear why they're there, you'll understand. And I think it's because I had just watched Hoosiers like the day before I made the list, so I put Hoosiers higher. It is great, and I love it. I love all the movies on this list, but given what is on my list, and I'm a very sentimental person, it wasn't a 3, but it deserved to be on the list, so I had to reorder the list a little bit. Hoosiers is my second honorable mention. My third and final honorable mention is The Rookie. Rick Gonzalez makes another appearance on this list as one of Dennis Quaid's high school baseball players. Dennis Quaid appears in this movie as a former professional baseball player who blew out his arm and took a job as a chemistry teacher in Texas, and is raising his son, played by Angus T. Jones, pre-Two and a Half Men fame. And he gets talked into coaching the baseball team, and during batting practice they realize he can still throw 98 miles an hour at almost 40 years old. He gets talked into trying out again, and whatever. A couple of these high school players were played by non-actors, actual students from the school. It was a movie that I watched all the time as a kid because my mom loved this movie as well, and so we would watch it together. I probably wore out this DVD watching this movie. Great movie. The Rookie is my final honorable mention. Number 5 on the official list of top five sports movies for me is Little Big League. This is a movie that is slept on by a lot of people. It's a great movie about 12-year-old Billy Haywood, whose grandfather owns the Minnesota Twins, and then his grandfather dies and leaves the team to his 12-year-old grandson. So then there's a kid manager, and many of the players don't care for this. And this was a stacked cast as well. Little Big League had a stacked cast as well. Luke Edwards played 12-year-old Billy Haywood. Timothy Busfield, who appears one more time on this list, played Luke Collins, who was basically the main Minnesota Twins player. Ashley Crow played Billy Haywood's mother, and she's not a big name, but the interesting part is her son her real life son, Pete Crow Armstrong, is a professional baseball player for the Chicago Cubs organization. So that makes a nice connection to this movie. Jonathan Silverman of Weekend at Bernie's fame is great in this movie. He's hilarious. Scott Patterson, best known for his role as Luke Danes on Gilmore Girls, is a Twins player in this movie. And what a lot of people don't know is that he was a professional baseball player before he became an actor. He was drafted by the Atlanta Braves and spent some time with the New York Yankees organization as well. He's in this movie. And then the best part about this movie is there is a ton of MLB players that appear in this movie, including my personal favorite, Ken Griffey Jr., Lou Piniella, Pudge Rodriguez, Sandy Alomar Jr., Randy Johnson, Wally Joyner, Dave Magadan, Paul O'Neill, Rafael Palmeiro, Tim Raines, Chris Berman. Like, this cast was loaded of not just actors and actors of the time that did great stuff, but also MLB talent and MLB personalities. And so this movie didn't have a great rating, but it was a great movie. It was one of those movies that made you want to go either pick up a baseball bat in the backyard or pick up a controller and play a baseball video game after. Little Big League comes in at number 5 on my list. It might not be on yours, but it's on mine. Number 4 is another sentimental pick for me and another stacked cast. Angels in the Outfield, the 1994 version. This was my mom's all-time favorite movie. We would watch this one together all the time. This was another cast, another stacked cast. Obviously, the lead in this movie was an 11-year-old Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Danny Glover played the Angels manager. Matthew McConaughey was on the Angels team. Adrian Brody, Tony Danza, Christopher Lloyd played the lead angel. Neil McDonough, who most recently who starred in the Arrowverse as well as Yellowstone. Dermot Mulroney. Like, I didn't realize how stacked this cast was till I got much older. But the number of big name actors in this movie as well was just a great movie. And for those that haven't seen it, it's about the California Angels, who were not very good until divine intervention stepped in and they were helped to victory by actual angels. Great movie to check out. It comes in at number 4 on my list of sports movies. Number 3 on my list, on my revised list, I should say, is The Sandlot. Not much needs to be said about this movie. Everybody loves this movie. It's a classic movie. Just celebrated, I think, 30 years recently. Just an amazing movie about a bunch of kids playing a great game. Number 2 on my list, and this was the most egregious thing, especially for me, that I had to fix when I reordered these, is that this movie was in my honorable mentions. And how important this movie was to me growing up, it should never be in my honorable mentions. Number 2 is Space Jam. The only one that matters, the 90s version with Michael Jordan. I hate that they even remade it, honestly. But no one was calling Michael Jordan a great actor in that movie. That's not the point. The original Space Jam that featured other NBA players as well. Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, Muggsy Bogues, Sean Bradley, Patrick Ewing, among others. And then we also saw Bill Murray, Wayne Knight of Third Rock from the Sun fame, as well as other shows. And for Eagle Eye viewers, when the Monstars were stealing the powers of NBA players, when they go to steal Charles Barkley's power, you can spot Patricia Heaton, who played Deborah on Everybody Loves Raymond, in the audience in the crowd of the basketball game. That's not a lot of people know that. That's just for Eagle Eye viewers. Danny DeVito plays the voice role of the mob boss of the Monstars. I had this showing my age a little bit. I had the cassette tape. I had the CD. I had the Space Jam bed sheets. I had the beach towels. I had the poster with Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny on it. I still have it somewhere. It's still in my parents' house. I had the full Michael Jordan jersey, the Toon Squad jersey, and I would put it on to watch the movie, and during the locker room scene when they're getting ready for the game, I would mimic Michael's motions of putting on the jersey as he's putting on the jersey. I was obsessed with this movie as a kid. I still love it. I watched it recently. It still holds up. Forget about the sequel. It doesn't exist to most of us. Space Jam, number 2 on my list. The only movie that could beat it out. The king of 90s sports movies. Kevin Costner, bringing us the all-time classic, and for some, the tear-jerking Field of Dreams, takes number 1 on this list. This is a movie that holds a lot of weight for me, even now as an adult. I rewatch it when I've had a bad day. I rewatch it when I'm stressed. I rewatched it when Major League Baseball did the Field of Dreams game, and Kevin Costner took part in that. I rewatch this movie all the time. I do have a controversial opinion about this movie, but I won't spoil that here. I will make a separate video about my controversial Field of Dreams opinion. I'll put the link below. Check that out and let me know what you think about that. But this is my top 5 list plus three honorable mentions for 8 in total. Please comment below your top sports movies and your thoughts on my sports movies and how you would order them as well. This has been another edition of Empire Sports Talk Power Rankings. This time we talked about top 5 sports movies. Next time will be top 5 NFL logos. Stay tuned for that one. I'm Roman Gennaro of Empire Sports Talk. See you next time.